in the multifamily industry, everyone on site has to work together or it's just not going to work at all.
Hey friends, Marcus here, and welcome back to the Multifamily Review, your favorite podcast, or at least I hope so. We've spent a lot of time talking about our previous research, which goes heavily into culture and how culture can benefit your business. However, we spent probably too much time talking about corporate and executive level culture and the impact on the company. But I think we actually need to spend some time talking about culture at the onsite level. And to help me do that, I've brought my wonderful coworker, Kelley Lockaby.
I'm so happy to be here. I feel so honored.
You should. This is a rare thing for the fellow coworkers of J. Turner Research to be here.
Oh my gosh, this is the biggest honor.
Laying it on a little thick, Kelley. I tell you what, let's get warmed up here. How did you get started in multifamily?
Honestly, how a lot of people get started in multifamily. I graduated college. I'd worked in student housing like most college students. I worked there to get a discount on rent. And also I got class credits for working there. So no complaints. And after college, I wasn't sure 100% what I wanted to do. I wanted something to help me shape myself professionally, but also appease my parents' request to get a job.
So it was a win for you.
Paycheck, parents please. And look, here I'm at J. Turner today, so I think I made the right decision to get into the multifamily industry because it led me here.
Probably heard me talking about it just a second ago, but what I think we need to discuss is that the executives that we spend a lot of our time talking to care about the big company level initiatives.
Yeah.
But what we don't have a lot of experience with is building culture at the on-site level.
Yeah.
And so I think that you and I should probably talk a little bit about that. What do you think?
Let's talk it out.
I think what's really important to start is why people get excited to come into the office. Like, I wake up right now and never ever do I, dread coming into work. I dread the Houston traffic, no doubt, but I do not hate coming into work. I love spending time with all of y'all. So let me ask you, what made you excited to come into work?
The people. I mean, especially in the multifamily industry, it's so busy, it's so taxing, it's emotionally taxing. So if you're not surrounded by people that you like to work with, people that are working together, and a lot of jobs you can come in and you can do your individual workflow. In the multifamily industry, everyone on site has to work together or it's just not going to work at all. I mean, why not enjoy going to work with people you like? So for me, I'm a big people person anyways. What made the hard days not seem so hard is the people that I worked with. Simple as that. Because there are a lot of hard days on site. I'm having war flashbacks.
I won't bring up the war just yet. Instead, let's talk about a good day. What did a good day look like?
A good day for me looked like everyone pitching in, whether that was, okay, we have a make ready, but it doesn't look that great. So on-site team, we're almost like you have to laugh some things off. We'll send Kelley upstairs. She'll sweep the floors. Really, a good day looked like everyone working together. I'm a really big collaborative person as is, whether that was group projects in school or work. I mean, I think that people motivate me. So if anyone was negative on site, the whole office was negative for the day. So a good day was when everybody was positive despite whatever was going on around us.
For those of you who are listening, what we're really trying to hammer home right now is teamwork makes the dream work. Your coworkers on site are extremely important, right? You need to understand that you're going to spend at least 8 hours with these people, right? So being able to enjoy them is probably a non-negotiable at some point. Let's talk about something else. Yes, I agree teamwork is so important, but I also think having an understanding of your role being important to the company is also important.
Yeah.
When you were on site, did you feel like your role mattered to the company?
I was really lucky. The company I worked for really emphasized how important the on-site teams were to the day-to-day operations. You are the front line, but you're also the key to why our properties are running so efficiently. So they really highlighted that. Something that always stuck out to me from a leadership perspective, the president of our company made it a point to visit every single property once a year, sometimes more. And most people might think, okay, was he there to look at everything with the fine-tooth comb? No, he was there to actually get to know any of the new employees. He was there to, create the culture that everyone preaches on, and really highlight company wins at an upper level, but also highlight why the onsite teams were part of our success for the year, or why the onsite teams are the ones driving ship. So in my experience, yes, I felt like we were highlighted for any good that we did on site or anything we did to increase the resident experience. But I can see why a lot of leaders fall short on that or don't understand how important it is, because a lot of times it's easy to just have bodies in place, especially in the multifamily industry where we see some turnover. But if you want to eliminate that, show the on-site teams how important they are to the big goal of the company. I think that is so little but goes such a long way.
For all of my on-site listeners, if no one else tells you today, I'm proud of you. It makes total sense because these are the people who are interacting with the residents, right? And if you're the one who's interacting with the residents, doesn't matter who the president, the CEO, the CMO, any of the C-suite executives are, right? Because to the resident, the manager, the leasing professional, the maintenance person, that is that company's face. Like, that is the face of the company. When they think of the company, that's who they're thinking of.
Yeah, it's brand representation for your company, and how leadership treats you trickles down, and that's how you treat your residents. So if you treat your employees how you expect them to treat your residents, I promise it's going to be a wonderful outcome.
I love that. Let's actually use that as our segue here. So when we're talking about treating our employees in several of our previous reports and even the previous podcasts, we've talked about the executive level treatment. You brought it up with your previous president as well too. Let's get further to the on-site. Let's talk about property managers, right?
Yeah.
So in our research, we found that supervisor was the biggest impact in someone's enjoyment of their role. And one of the things that really stood out is the good managers were always looking to seek feedback on their management style. Mm-hmm. They were also, known to try to discuss performance with employees regularly, so everyone kind of knew where they were at. Let me ask about some of your previous managers. Were they doing these kinds of things?
Yeah, and honestly, it was a performance discussion, but it was also always geared around, what do you want to gain from this role? Yes, we know what the next step to a leasing agent is. It's assistant. We know what the next step to assistant is. It's property manager. But what do you want to gain in this role? Do you want to learn more? Are you wanting to take on more responsibilities? What are you looking to achieve from this role? And I think that's really important because it makes you sit back and say, okay, so I'm not just coming in doing the job description. What do I want to do outside of the job description that's going to prepare me for the next step? Yeah, I felt like I got that a lot, and I felt like I had that support that I needed on site to step outside of the box in my current role.
Well, Kelley, let me tell you, the number one aspect that the on-site team members were least satisfied with was opportunity for advancement. Does that surprise you?
Honestly, no, because there are only so many positions in the on-site or multifamily realm. But that's why I say, you have to have leaders that are willing to think outside of the box. That is such a cliche saying, but it means a lot. What are you looking to gain from being a leasing agent? Okay, I could easily say, I want to be an assistant manager. Okay, what are you looking to gain from being an assistant? I want to be a property manager. Okay, those are obvious steps. But if you have a leader that's willing to sit down and go, okay, you're really good at data, so let's get you involved in the reporting. Or you're really good at social media and marketing, let's get you involved with taking over the social media. You're a really great mentor, let's get you onboarding the new hires and mentoring the new hires. That responsibility makes you feel more valued and unique in your position. So you're no longer just a leasing agent, or you're no longer just an assistant. You're an irreplaceable employee no matter what position you're in.
I love that. And to clarify, I'm actually not great at social media. And to prove that, there should be a dragon flying over my head. Okay. Hopefully it's there. I'll be disappointed if they don't add that in. In our Cracking the Performance Code research report that we put out, we had the data separated into standard performers and top performers.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about the top performers is they felt like their skills were being better used as opposed to standard performers. From the eyes of a manager, how can someone identify this kind of talent and then also keep people engaged, even if there are no promotions kind of available?
It's hard because, you can say regular check-ins. Obviously, regular check-ins are great. But even if an employee doesn't voice, what vision they see for themselves for the future or what their goals are, you need to be highlighting and recognizing their strengths. If you're able to sit back and identify from afar, okay, I'm noticing they're really good at, engaging with our frustrated residents. What position can I create for them, or what role can I create within this on-site team that they're going to flourish in? That advancement in personal growth is just as important, I would say, and it was for me, because I did work for a company where there weren't many roles that you could advance to, but the movement that I felt and the personal growth and my professionalism, that was big enough for me to stay engaged for as long as I did. And I think that goes a long way for many.
Let's say you have this great leader, this wonderful person who's, also kind of a role model. They're guiding your career path, even though there are no promotions available. They're, keeping the team engaged, energized. They're keeping the office fun, lighthearted, making sure everyone's, focused on the bigger mission, but also, keeping it, pretty chill, right? The vibes are right. How do you think that empowers someone to perform at their best?
You don't want to leave a place that you love going to every day. You don't want to leave coworkers that you love showing up to work for. But a manager that creates like a safe space, I think it feels a lot more productive and less confusing. A manager that you feel like isn't providing a lot of clarity, they're really just not providing a positive environment. And I'm lucky to say that every manager I had, it was such a positive environment for me that I was excited. And I had bad days. Everybody has bad days, but I always wanted to be performing at the best because I knew my manager was going to cheer me on. I didn't feel like, I'm going to perform at my best and my manager is going to take the credit because she doesn't do anything, or so on and so forth. And I think that's the attitude a lot of on-site people have, is they don't want to perform because who's gonna care? And you should want to perform for yourself. But it says a lot if you have a manager that is willing to cheer you on. For any property managers listening to this and you're like, how do I engage my on-site teams or make them feel recognized? If you feel like their efforts for the week and you're going into your regional leasing call are worth shouting out, do it. Recognize your team members. The smallest recognition goes a long way. And if the more you feel like you're recognized, and I don't want to feel like we give gold stars out just for anything, you want to make sure that it's within parameters. Our team, we had a lot set up where other employees could recognize team members. They say, Kelley cared about our customers and this is why. It shouldn't all be the manager's responsibility to shout out team members. Make it an open forum for on-site team members to come to you and say, hey, I recognize that Marcus was doing a really great job with this customer, or that Marcus went above and beyond for this move-in. Make it an open window for them to shout team members out. It shouldn't be all the manager's responsibility, but it is their responsibility to create a positive environment.
I would have liked a lot more shout outs personally from you, Kelley, but I will take those too, no doubt.
I had to shout myself out first.
One of the things that I was talking to some property managers that I have found that's pretty cool is they have like this almost like a cork board in the back or whatever, and they use it for shout outs just randomly throughout the day. You just type something out, print it, or you just write a note and you just stick it on there like, hey, Kelley did this thing that was so great and awesome. She cleaned the coffee machine.
Woo! I'll never clean the coffee machine.
Yeah, Kelley never cleans the coffee machine. But that's okay. She does a lot of other great things. The number one challenge across every single demographic we surveyed was work life. What does a day that throws off work-life balance look like on site?
A lot. I mean, I think that it doesn't matter if you're the building with all the bells and whistles or you have no bells and whistles at all. Your bells and whistles will be ringing. Fire alarms go off all the time. I think that's the most obvious. The USPS driver will just drive through your garage and pull all of your sprinklers out and flood the garage. That's just a normal day in property management. But there are some emotional taxing moments. You're dealing with people's homes, so fire sprinklers might bust and you've ruined their grandma's heirloom piece that was in their apartment. And there's so many things that can happen. There's so many traumatic things. There's so many small things that feel like they can throw the day off. But more than anything, absorbing their emotions is what makes it so hard for team members to really balance life and work. And it's hard to shut off after you've gone home and you've dealt with what people, this is their home. You have to think about going to your home. Even if you don't live at the apartment you work at, think about going home and you just found out, you just had a hard day at work. You just found out your whole apartment or your whole house flooded. That's just what you came home to. So you have to understand where the residents are coming from. You can't be upset at them. In the moment, you're like, why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. It's not my fault. And the team I worked with, they cared so much. And I think this was my biggest flaw. I would not go home and let it go. Like I was still thinking about so-and-so's cat that we forgot to tell them the fire drill was going on. So they're upset. Like that's such a minor thing, but it's hard to separate that sometimes. You want to care about people. Customer facing roles are really hard, but in the multifamily industry, it's a little different because you wear multiple hats. You're a therapist, you're a psychiatrist, you're a mentor, you're a salesperson, you're also representing a brand. So you have to stay calm and professional. Whereas at some other convenience store or wherever you might work in customer service, you might never have to see that customer again.
I have always been told that the three lines of business that are the most emotionally taxing are health, home, and financial.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be that when you work in the rental housing industry, you intersect two of those, right? And sometimes
three.
Sometimes three. One of my great coworkers who also worked on site, her husband was in the military. And, they were sitting down comparing, and this is a little bit morbid, but I think it still tells a fantastic story that she, working as a property manager, had seen more dead bodies than her husband, who was in the Army and deployed through several different tours. So I think that just says something real about when you're dealing with people's homes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like if you tell them, oh, I'm a property manager, they're like, oh, so what do you lease apartments? No, you do a lot of things. More than you would expect.
Look, I'll be the first to admit that when I got into the industry, I was that way too. I
believe you were that person.
I definitely was like, oh, okay, like, oh, you work at the apartment, whatever, like, sure.
Hard life.
Yeah, you have a nice AC office. You don't want to show me the pool's always broken. You don't have to worry about that. No.
The top thing I think prospects would say is, so what do you want to do after this? What do you mean? This is my job. I like this job. They're like, well, like, there's a lot to learn. Like, don't feel like just being on site is like, okay, what do I want to do next? Like, there's a lot to learn, and people learn to respect you.
What is one piece of advice you'd give to like a brand new assistant manager or like a new leasing professional who actually does want to, use multifamily rental housing as a career?
It's a great career. I loved my time in multifamily. I felt like I had a great experience. I have no complaints about the company I worked for. I felt like it was a really great transition for me. Someone that wants to stay in it, one, find a company that cares about next steps, next goals for you. That's obvious. That's anywhere you work. That's not just multifamily. But if you do want to stay in the multifamily industry, be curious. Do not lose your curiosity. It's easy to get in there and go through your day-to-day or get bogged down by the things that get thrown at you. Don't be afraid to ask for new responsibilities, because a lot of times there's a lot of things that get left behind in the on-site world where, who's even running our social media account or, stuff like that. If it's something that you enjoy and it's going to highlight your strengths, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I enjoy doing this and I would love the opportunity to, and I keep bringing up social media accounts because we have our social media person here, Angeline. Don't be afraid to ask for roles outside of your job description. In this industry, it definitely rewards people for being proactive. If you are wanting to be the next person to be promoted to property manager, your assistant manager, you need to learn to be curious and not afraid to step out of your comfort zone. If you're scared to talk to residents that are frustrated, you always want to say, well, let me get the property manager. No, take a jab at it. Try to talk to the frustrated resident yourself before you pull in the property manager.
No, thank you.
Or don't. Always look like the good guy, don't. So don't be afraid to be curious. You don't know. You might, find something that you're so good at, or you might find something that you're so bad at and say, oh, I should probably never try that again. But it's okay to make mistakes, especially in this industry.
Talking to residents.
Everything is reversible.
You should also, try to find new things to take on, right? Yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit, though, because I am a little bit curious about this. One of the things that we got from our Cracking the Performance Code report was that top performers felt more stressed at work than standard performers. Do you think that's because they're absorbing more things around the property to maybe help things run more smoothly? Do you think it's because they're looking for new things to take on outside of their job role?
It definitely makes sense why top performers would be more stressed. I mean, aside from pressure from leadership, there's that pressure to be amongst the elite, amongst the best of the best. There's pressure. You always want to be finding ways to stand out. You know what it means to be the best, so you want to make sure that you're meeting those standards. But on the flip side of that, your residents also know what it means to be the best. So whereas at like a normal property, things might slip through the cracks, at a property that is always performing at their best, the small minor issues your residents are going to notice. So there's a lot of pressure from multiple sides of it, but I think the resident pressure adds a really thick layer.
All right, Kelley, I have a bit of a personal question for you.
Okay.
Again, I've never worked on site. Sorry to everyone who has thought in the past that I might have. I've never been there. But I'm always curious. When you were on site, did you ever feel like you didn't have the right people or the materials or the budget to succeed? Or did you think that you always had everything you needed to be successful in your role?
I mean, I think the company that I worked for, I was really lucky that they really understood the importance of treating your on-site people right. There were times where we were short-staffed, but they were always smart to allocate team members to, property X is short-staffed, property Y is fully leased up. They're not having as much traffic. Let's send someone over. So they were always willing and flexible to do that, or even hire temp agencies if they felt like, we weren't going to be able to find someone to support the team members. But bandwidth, I think, is where there is a huge gap in the industry. I mean, if you are short-staffed, you're stretching people thin. And that's, I think, where frustration builds up. So if I had any advice to give leadership, budget's one thing, but making sure that you're fully staffed. If you're wanting a building to run efficiently, you need to hire enough people to make sure that it can be ran efficiently. Because one person stretched thin, it's going to run very negatively.
I think sometimes we get lost in what a property really is, right? Yes, it's people's homes, and that's important. But even further than that, right? If you want to just think about this from a completely business standpoint, these are multi-million-dollar assets, right? I could not go to a construction site where a crane is operating and it's like a $400 million crane or something like that, building skyscrapers in New York. They're not just going to let me get in there and break it, right? It should be the exact same thing as, property. If you don't have the people in there to have it functioning the right way, you can't expect it to stay pristine and perfect, right? It's going to start to crack and fall apart. That's why I think these staffing models are so important.
You have to invest in the quality and work ethic that you want, because you're putting your multi-million-dollar property in the hands of the on-site team. And, that could go one of two ways. It could go really great. They can, make you a lot of money, or it could go really wrong and they could lead the building astray. And I think a lot of operators don't let it get that far. You're never going to lose money investing in the right people, in my opinion.
Beautifully said. Kelley, I got two final questions for you. It's actually one question that's maybe a little bit two-pronged. One, what misconceptions do you think are out there that executives kind of feel about on-site team members?
Yeah.
And then let's do the reverse. What are other misconceptions that on-site team members feel about being on-site?
Investing in the right people to run the operations, but also too, like, if you are investing in the right people, you want to make sure you're there to support them. We've talked about support a lot today, but if they're not reaching out to you, that doesn't mean they don't need support. I think that's a huge misconception. If the on-site teams are just running your buildings efficiently, they're just doing what they need to do, it is likely there are frustrations building up that you're not aware of. So from whatever level you're at, executive, regional level, if you're not on site, make sure you're checking in with your on-site teams. You're asking what you can do to support their day-to-day operations. If you roll out new processes, make sure it's streamlining processes for your on-site team. Don't roll something out, don't add new technology on site without testing it at your own properties. Don't make your on-site team an afterthought. Make sure they know they're supported and they're thought of in decision making.
All right, Kelley. Wait, I'm getting one final question from our producer. Kelley, got to ask you, what's your favorite podcast you've been on?
That's easy. The Multifamily Review.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.